Hi, Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the Ed Festival 2021 powered by EdCM. I'm so excited to be spending 3 days with all of you wonderful viewers and participants eager to begin your study abroad journey with us. And what is the Ed Festival? The Ed Festival is a virtual expo ranging over 3 days, today, tomorrow, and day after, where we'll have 13 university reps talking to us all things that we want to know about that university. So applications, visa, interviewing, campus life, accommodation, and fee. But what I'm more excited about are the knowledge sharing sessions, because that's what all of us want to know about, right? And if I look at myself, when I applied abroad about 20 years ago, don't calculate my age, please. So about 20 years ago, I wish we had career counselors and such industry specialists and domain specialists to guide us. But today we have such an esteemed guest with us today, Waqas Ahmed, and I'd like to introduce him and build context about the session as well. Waqas will be talking to you about preparing statement of purpose. He started his career in the education sector in 2009 with Hult International Business School. During his 9.5 years of extensive work at Hult, he learned about different programs offered internationally, curriculums around the world, and setting guidelines for admissions and sales. He was also in charge to get Hult listed with government in the MENA countries. Later, he joined Kaplan International Colleges, UK, and worked as admissions director, MENA region. His team was responsible to set guidelines of admission, appeal cases, setting up systems and CRM around it. Currently, Waqas has moved to Pakistan to work with the global university systems who are partnering with us for the Ed Festival 2021. And he's the head of business development and handles a wide portfolio of institutes. His complete profile includes admissions and recruitment for universities and campuses in the US, UK, Germany, Canada, and UAE. Welcome to Ed Festival 2021, Waqas, and over to you.
Thank you so much, Masooma. To be honest with you, thank you so much for an extensive introduction over here. Truly humble. Thank you so much for that. As Masooma mentioned to all the viewers, we were talking about constructing a personal statement. It is requirement by most of the universities, and it's something that it is an art, but it's not that hard to learn, to be very honest with you. So we will love to talk about that more and get the knowledge to you as to primarily from my perspective as well. So if I'm reading a personal statement, what exactly do I want to see? So this is the kind of perspective I want to put in, and see what exactly are the aspects that a student should take care of before writing their personal statement. So I'll go very short, I promise you that, so that we don't get bored a lot on talking about the personal statement. So let's deep dive into it right away. I'll go full screen on it. Perfect. Okay, so what is a personal statement? It is an essay that tells your story, right? I mean, the main point is there's a difference between your resume and your personal statement. Resume will tell you what exactly do you work, where exactly do you study, and what did you study. But telling your story, what you've gone through, what are your challenges, what are your goals, what were the hurdles, that's very important. So let the leaders know who you are and what exactly do you aspire to get, and that has to be very different from your resume. It does not have to be one line, this was my duty, this is what I was doing. That's not how a personal statement should be. So it's more of a story, and it's more of who you are. That's what an essay tells us. As I mentioned, admission scholarship committees of universities, it is a requirement because they want to know more about you from you, because there's no one in the world who would know more about you. What have you gone through? Not really your secrets, but what exactly have you done? Where exactly do you want to see yourself? And this is more of painting a picture to the admissions and scholarship committees, and telling them how do you stand out, who you are, and what do you present. So that's very important. Journal guidelines that anybody would give to you. I don't want to deep dive into into the main tips, but we'll go through with that. So generally, a personal statement is 250 to 500 words. We do cap it. If you look at admissions, they are reviewing thousands of profiles every intake, and the longer the personal statement is, and trust me, we do read the personal statement. If it is 1,500 words, it's a lot to read, and it's a lot to digest as well, and sometimes you zone out out of your personal statement. So that's why a lot of universities do cap it. But if you do get the opportunity to write more, please do write more. It will give us perspective on things you might want to add to your profile, might be your second priority, but it might make a difference. So if you do get an option to write more than 500 words, please by all means go ahead and maximize that opportunity, and convince the reader that you stand out from other candidates and you should be selected. That's very important. The first thing of standing out is you have to believe that you stand out. You have to believe that you're unique. It's not about, oh yeah, same experience my other colleagues have or my other classmates have. It's more about, what do you believe that is different about you? Maybe your family background, maybe you moved out of a very rural area to a very urban area. It was hard for you to really adjust, but these are the kind of things we want to know. This is what convinces us that that you do stand out, and that's what the kind of profiles and the diversity that we need in our universities, especially when it comes to admissions. Moving forward on this slide, I will take some time because I would definitely say this is something that is important and something that I really want to get the point across. So always type. Handwritten statements are not accepted. This doesn't mean that you should not write from your hand when it comes to your drafts. Do write it by hand, whatever you're comfortable with. Maybe you have a very good handwriting, maybe you're more comfortable writing and feeling of that pen on a paper. By all means, your drafts can be handwritten, but when you're submitting your final personal statement, always type. Many reasons for it. It's easier to read, less spelling mistakes, we will be able to see it, and if the universities want to check the plagiarism on it, they will be able to run it easily. That's the reason we don't accept, or most of the universities do not accept handwritten personal statements. Always follow your aspiration, ask and answer your questions. Now, this again is a two-parter. So if you do get an opportunity to write more than 500 words, do ask yourself questions. Where do you want to see yourself and why? What made you take this decision? And then answer it. Why exactly you are following this? But aspiration, that's very important. That is super, super, super important. I cannot stress more. People who do have an aspiration, who have a goal in their head, that's what they're targeting. That's what we want to know, where exactly a student is going. Anybody would study engineering or medicine or business, but why do you want to study that particular subject? And we'll talk about this a little more, but where exactly do you want to see yourself? What's your aspiration? So always follow that throughout your personal statement, and end at that as well. I will talk about the conclusion as well, but aspiration, very important. Opening is everything. You have the first paragraph to hook your reader. You can quote anyone, that's not a problem at all. Mention that this is the person that you quoted, but it has to be very relevant. Or if you're not quoting someone, then think about an opening statement that would really stand you out, that would make it different already, that somebody would say, oh, okay, I would love to read these 500 words, 1,500 words, or 2,000 words. I would love to read it. So that's what the idea is. Even in sales, when you talk about your first 15 seconds is what makes a difference. Same as with your personal statement as well. The opening is everything. You have the first paragraph, make a difference. Take guidance if you're not sure, but opening is everything. So make sure that opening is very, very, very beautifully, very strongly written. Distinguish yourself. Tell us what is unique about you and your experiences. Again, the same thing, right? I mean, that's very important. You have to believe that you are different from others. You have to believe you deserve this position. You have to believe you deserve this scholarship and this admission. So first you believe it, and then you find out points which makes you stand out. Okay, so that's again very important. What have you accomplished? How little it maybe makes a difference. I made sure that I write how little it may be, because a lot of students would come to us, in my previous experience and my current experiences as well. They'll be like, oh yeah, well, I'm a high school student. What accomplishes do you want me to write? It's not about Lamborghinis and Ferraris and mentions, right? And being a billionaire, that's your accomplishment. No, not at all. In accomplishment as little as, struggling in chemistry. I struggled with chemistry, to be honest, in organic chemistry, and I really had to work hard towards it. So that is an accomplishment at that age. So as little as possible, how did you balance your sports and co-curricular activities with your academics? How were you able to overcome your fears of, standing up in class and asking questions, regarding the questions that you might have that you might thought, might not be that relevant, but you overcame that fear? That's accomplishment, and that's what we want to know. How little it may be does not matter, or how big it may be does not matter. So please, please, please do mention to us what exactly you accomplished. Where are you standing at the moment, and what made you stand here? That's super important. Be concise. Again, words may be capped, maybe not. Even if you have like 1,000 words to write, that's fine. But be very concise and to the point. The more concise you are, the better it is for us, because we get hooked up with it. Or if you write paragraphs and paragraphs, that would make us astray. We would start cutting down and not reading your whole paragraph and just reading the first line and moving on, because we know that you have wrote a lot of things that might not be relevant or might be exaggerated. So please be very concise in your personal statement. That's very important. And be honest and write your heart out. Whatever you think. I mean, when I was writing my personal statement, I would definitely be thinking about, oh, well, should I write this out or not? Should I twist it a little bit? Might be very funny for the reader. They might not think that, it's something that one of the universities. Does not matter. It's who you are. So be honest and write your heart out, and make your edits later on, make it concise later on. But firstly, you have to be honest and write as much as you want about yourself in your personal statement. Write what is important to you. For me, it's family. For people, it's success. For people, it's money. For people, it's reaching to a particular destination, working over there, like Silicon Valley. This is important. Mention it. Whatever is important to you, mention it. We want to know what makes a difference in your life. Tell your story, I've mentioned before, and be proud of who you are. It does not matter what background you come from. It does not matter where you are at the moment. Be proud of it. Own it. I do remember there was a point when we invited our students in my previous role to an event. And at the airport, these two students met, and they didn't know they were going at the same destination. So they just said hello and hi, and they left. And the guy, generally that Pakistani passengers have these name tags on their luggages, and from going from this city to that city, that was written on his bag. And the other guy was very privileged, very well groomed, and both of them sat on the same plane and came to the same event. The other student came up to me and was like, "Sir, I could not believe that this student was on the same flight and is actually coming to this event where I was invited. And now I came to know that the student actually got full scholarship, and I have not received a single scholarship because of my profile." So, and again, this guy was very confident, and be proud of who you are. It does not matter what background you come from. So please, 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 something that you believe in is something that you will be able to put on the paper, and be positive. When I say be positive, don't be dramatic. Don't be one of those people who are like, the world is falling apart and I need to fix it. Be positive. Always write a positive picture. We love to read about positive things rather than always reading about negative, and looking at media as well. So we want you to tell us, where can you make a difference? How can it make a difference in a lot of people's lives? How can it make a difference in your life? That is even enough, but be positive about it. Don't be negative in your personal statements. We love to read positive things on a paper. Moving forward, this is a very important point as well, is education and career goals. What led you to choose this university, school, or college? That's very important. Why are you going to, ULaw? Why are you going to Canterbury Crisis University? You have to mention why you're going. Yes, even if you're recommended by your cousin, counselor, or anybody, there has to be a research from your own side. what made this university or college stand out for you. So please do your research on the university. Maybe it's the location, maybe it's the sports facilities, maybe it's the accommodation. That's fine, but have a little bit of your research. And what led you choose a specific course, major, and degree? That's very important as well. Where do you want to see? So why is this degree important to you? Why do you think this particular major will help you out reach your goals? And that's also very important. So please do mention it in your personal statement. And a lot of people, especially coming out of high schools, are undecided, which is completely fine. We don't mind that, even if you're undecided. As far as you have an aspiration, we will help you reach to the place where you want to be. We will help you in choosing the right courses, the right majors, the right degrees. So that is also very important. So please, 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 even if you're undecided, that's fine. Mention in your personal statement, this is where you want to be, but I'm undecided. I'm not sure what you want to take. I'm still taking help from my counselors, and will take help in the university counselors as well, which is completely fine. So this is also a very integral part of your personal statement. Coming to conclusion, again, ending is everything. So end on a powerful note. It has to be very powerful. Again, if you want to quote something, by all means, go ahead. Make yourself stand out. This is the third time I'm saying it, so you can imagine how important it is. So please, please, please believe it, and try to mention in a way that you stand out from the other candidates. Do consider linking your conclusion to your introduction. It becomes a cycle automatically when we read the introduction, and then we are lost in your explanation and your story, and then come to the conclusion like, oh yes, this is what I read, and this was what your introduction was. This is where you wanted to be. This is where you stand. So if you can link that, that is unbelievable. That would be great. So please do consider doing that. Show that your topic is relevant and appeal to a wider audience. That's very important as well. Especially if you are writing about a specific topic, and this is what you choose, then yes, please make sure that it appeals to a very wider audience rather than being a very niche market. Even if it is niche, that's fine, but still it has to be very relevant. A reader should know that you're not talking about 2121 from 100 years from now, that you're talking about now, or 10 years, 20 years down the line, because that's more realistic. And then yes, you can target 100 years as well, but it has to be a very realistic approach. And give insights how experience has changed you into a person that you are today. That's also very important. Any sports teacher said something, or your subject teachers quoted somebody, and that has changed the way you think. We want to know that. So any experience as your sports, or doing track record, something that has changed you. So please, by all means, do mention that in your personal statement and in the conclusion. Finalize, how to finalize a personal statement. Make sure the reason to write this personal statement is very clear and correct. Why I mentioned that is because, again, as I said, you have scholarships, statements, and then you have admission statements. Admission statements tells us about you, who you are, what background you come from, what do you aspire, where do you want to be, and why you choose this university. On the scholarship personal statement, you are talking about why do you think that you should get the scholarship, whether it's your grades, or it's need-based, or your extracurricular activities, your sports activities. So that's totally different than your personal statement for admission. So please make sure that it's clear and it's very, very correct on the reason that you're writing this personal statement. Also check grammar and spelling mistakes. I cannot stress more on this. Please use Word, please use other tools. There's so many tools that are available to you. Make sure that there are no grammatical mistakes, or there are no spelling mistakes. So please do check that. Write concisely and truthfully, as I mentioned before, as short as possible, as true as possible. Actually, it has to be true. It's simple as that, because somewhere if you twist something, you will not be consistent, and we would know. So please be very true about what you write and what you aspire. And this is also very important. When applying to different destinations, make sure you edit appropriately. The reason why I say that is because a lot of people do come from common application, or UCAS applications, and one personal statement goes to 5 to 10 universities. That's fine. But then again, if you're applying directly to university and you want to use the same personal statement, we don't mind that. That's your intellectual property. But at least, if you have a university or a major mentioned, which I do want you to mention in your personal statement, make sure you edit that. We don't want to sit and basically University Canada West and read a personal statement about ULaw, because that would not be good, because we know that you've written a perfect personal statement, but just didn't make that final effort to change the name of the university and the major. So please, please, please do make edits appropriately and type as many drafts as possible. Take your time. I mean, I would say as soon as the idea comes in your mind to start your studies, or apply abroad or do whatever, start writing your personal statement from day one. Write as many drafts, 100 drafts as possible. Doesn't matter. You will get new ideas. You will remember so many other points that you have not mentioned in your personal statement that might make a difference. So write a lot of drafts and then finalize and take your time on it. Don't hurry up, because once you've gone through it and in the hassle you've applied, and there will be a point where you're like, oh, I could have mentioned that, or I could have mentioned that, I could have mentioned that and got a scholarship, I could have mentioned that and got the acceptance. So please take your time on it. So that's pretty much from my side that I wanted to mention when I'm constructing a personal statement. I would love to take any questions that you guys might have.
Yes, thank you so much, Vikas. It was really insightful and learning for me as well. And I was just remembering, and I've been mentioning it all day today, that the time that I applied to study abroad and all my family did, we didn't have such help and such area experts available that the students nowadays do.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. We do have a few questions, and I'm going to be conscious of time, so we'll take 3 questions.
Sure.
One of them is it mandatory to write about financials in SOP?
So, I mean, it depends, right? If you're writing for a scholarship statement, then yes, you do give us a background, like why exactly do you need it and why exactly do you deserve it? So I do mention that. I mean, don't be 100% accurate. This is what your bank statement is, but at least give us an idea, where do you stand, so we can make an appropriate decision, because sometimes you do know that you do deserve it, but we have a lot of other students that are coming from very different backgrounds. As in the opening statement today, as I mentioned as well, there are universities that will take 2,000 euros, but then there are universities who will take 13,000 pounds. So it all depends of the budget of the person, right? But when you're applying for scholarships, mention your financials, not 100% accurate, but we need to have an idea where do you stand, and we want to see which bracket we can get you in.
Right. So the answer is that do mention them, please.
Yes.
Yeah. Sorry. Yes, Vikas, you were saying something.
Yeah, no, I mentioned yes, please do mention it. Please do mention it. Not 100% accurate, but do mention it. This is your financial, situation at the moment.
Right. Thank you so much. And there is a long query, but I'm going to read it out because it is a concern or a query from one of our Zoom webinar participants. They ask, would you say someone who has had an impactful tragedy at a young age, say a fatal accident of a family member, would make someone's personal statement stronger than others that may not have had such an incident because of how big it influenced their life?
Not necessarily. If I'm reading 2 personal statements, one with a tragedy and one without, I wouldn't weigh them differently. For me, or for any other admissions, person, you would say that when you're reading a personal statement, if you had that kind of tragedy, yes, it changed you to a person that you are today. But at the same time, riding a bicycle and falling down off a bicycle, getting scratches and going to your parents and telling them which they told you not to do, is an experience that would change you as well. So it does not have different weightages. Yes, I mean, that would change you as a person, so please do mention in your personal statement, but it does not change the weightage in any possible scenario.
Right, thank you. And another question that we have is, and I know you've mentioned this in your presentation, Vikas, but is there any word limit for SOP? A student is still answering that.
No problem. I'll still answer that. It depends. It depends university to university. Some universities give you 1,000 words, 1,500 words. Some universities only give you 500 words. So it all depends what university is asking you to do, because it depends how many applications they have to read out per day and how many admission staff that they have. So we have to be mindful as well on what is happening at the back end. So yes, there is a limit. Most of the time there is a limit. I would say 80% there is a limit, 20% there is no limit.
Right. Thank you so much. That brings us to our last question. We can keep listening to forever and ever, Vikas. Thank you so much for your wisdom. The last question is, how do you relate SOP with previous studies as if the student has done ICOM and wants to now pursue economics? How would you relate it?
And how would I relate in a personal statement?
Yes, the student has written how to relate SOP with previous studies.
I mean, that's your story, right? That's what you have gone through. So this is something that you explain. If the question is how to attach ICOM with economics, or how do you do that, that depends upon your aspiration. So I mean, that's what the two things that I did cover, right? Because firstly, that's your story, or what background you're coming from, where do you want to see yourself, that's your aspiration. So that's definitely always what you need to connect. Yes, you come from ICOM, there might be family issues, there might be accessibility issues that you had to do ICOM, but you actually are interested in economics. So yeah, that's relating, and that's where do you want to see yourself. That's where you want to study in the university that you're applying to. So that's completely fine.
Right. Thank you so much, Vikas. And summing up, is there something you want to say in the last 1 minute? Because for myself, what I understood and picked up from that was especially be authentic, right? So you need to have a story and do not copy someone else's, because, I am from LUMS and we have such inspirational, with the National Outreach Program, we have such inspirational stories. And an easy way is when people say that, can I read your SOP? And then it stays in their head, right? They get inspired. So be authentic, be yourself, take an inventory of what you're good at and pen it down. Do 100 iterations, run it by your seniors, your mentors. Anything else you want to add as a closing note, Vikas?
No. That's about it. I mean, to be honest with you, it's not bad to be inspired by others, but always when you're inspired or when you're quoting them, do mention their name so that we know that you're quoting them, and that's how you got the inspiration from. It can be your colleague, it can be the gardener, it can be Muhammad Ali Jinnah, it can be anyone. That's completely fine. That's where you get your inspiration from. But be truthful about it, and it's your story. Tell it proudly.
Right, tell it proudly. Thank you so much, Vikas, for your time. I'm sure the viewers and the participants are thanking you especially as well. I would like to sign off. Sure. I would like to sign off this session. But still, the ED Festival is going on. Do not go anywhere. There's so many other wonderful information sessions by university reps who are specialists in their fields. Please do tune into those sessions as well. We look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thank you.
All right. Take care, Mazuma. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure.
Bye.
Bye.